In other news, Israeli defense forces preventing a breach along the northern border with Lebanon. But the attempt coming from inside Israel and not the other way around. Israeli farmers across the region in protest against pending agricultural and economic reforms, which they argue will destroy their livelihoods. And the protesters, one of whom was arrested, apologizing for endangering the IDF, but saying that nothing else was getting enough attention. In any case, with me now to analyze is Dr. Alex Coman, value creation expert from the Academic College in Tel Aviv-Jaffa. Dr. Coman, thanks so much for being with us. Now, if the reforms are approved, Israel's agriculture industry would have to conform to European quality standards. Also, import tariffs and the like will be greatly reduced to increase competition. The idea being to drive down the costs for consumers. But farmers say that the greedy supermarkets are actually to blame for the high prices and that these reforms will destroy the local farming industry. How do you respond?
Well, first of all, like always, it's of course yes and no. On one hand, it's true that there are several very powerful supermarket chains that dictate very low prices for the farmers, and the farmers are frustrated because they see that the prices for the final consumer are high. If you look here and you see prices something like 19 or 20 shekels, the farmer might receive something like 2 shekels, which is extremely frustrating for them. And with tariffs being reduced, they predict that there would be imports of products such as tomatoes, cucumbers, carrots from Turkey, for instance. In Turkey, vegetables are going to be very, very cheap because the Turks have a lot of water, infinite land, and labor is very cheap. So Israeli farmers are really concerned about that.
So what is the average profit margin in the agriculture industry? Have farmers not been able to jack up the prices at all? Is it really all the doing of the supermarkets?
No. In fact, the interesting thing is that when you look at some products, you would see exorbitant margins, but this is usually for commodity products, like I said, carrots, cucumbers, things like that, where Israeli agriculture does not have any significant advantage. On the other hand, if you look at watermelon, if you look at other products where Israel, grapes, for instance, seedless grapes, where Israel agriculture really excels in the world, these are areas where you do not see such exorbitant margins. So the point is the following. We want Israeli agriculture to be, first of all, to exist. And that's the reason actually why they did this on the northern border, because they want to show we are growing agriculture near the borders. We are absorbing all the animosity from Lebanon or from Gaza. So that's a point. But they should be growing products that Israel has competitive advantage in. So Israel has very sophisticated agriculture. And actually, the tariffs should not be eliminated right away. They should be gradually reduced so that Israeli agriculture is slowly exposed to competition. Products where we do not have competitive advantage should be imported, and the farmers should concentrate on the products where we excel. And this way, everybody would be happy. We would have excellent vegetables, not with exorbitant prices, and farmers would have nice profits, and it will be a win-win situation.
So I wanted to ask, though, another issue with this, which even the farmers have alluded to, was the idea that Israel should remain ultimately self-sufficient with respect to food for security purposes. Is that at all endangered?
Yes. Well, we should not take this card too seriously. The point is the following. Sometimes when Israel was under a rocket attack from Gaza, for instance, or from Lebanon, we observed that, for instance, most airlines stopped flying to Israel. So the farmers argue that if we are not autonomous in such situations, there would be a shortage of vegetables. So I agree with them completely that yes, we should have Israeli agriculture. We should have Israeli farmers. And by the way, all over the world, farmers are being subsidized. However, there's too much of a good thing. For instance, if you think about eggs and if you think about milk, we see very powerful agricultural monopolies. And these monopolies cause situations where you are not allowed, for instance, you yourself are not allowed to grow a cow in your living room or have chickens there because you do not have a quota. Isn't that painful? So as a result, they curtail the supply. When you don't have enough supply, prices shoot to the sky. So this should not be the case.
All right. Well,
Everything
we
should
know.
be competitive, first of all,
Well, I was just gonna say,
within the walls of Israel. And this way we would have reasonable prices and everybody would be happy.
all right. Well, we know that Avigdor Lieberman, the finance minister, is also going after breaking up some of these monopolies and some of these big supermarket chains to drive down the price further. And he's not only relying on the agriculture industry itself. So we'll see how all of this goes. I must say I'm very disappointed to know that I cannot grow my own cow or chickens at home. That's a blow. To my small
painful.
apartment, we need a chicken in my apartment. But in any case, Dr. Coman, thank you so much for being with us.
Good day. Bye.